Bonjour, everyone.
Bonjour, everyone. Bienvenue.
I have no idea what that means. Bienvenue.
Oh, fuck
Bienvenue
you.
is welcome.
Bien Avenue.
No, bienvenue.
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 Bien Avenue.
No, bienvenue.
I know.
Have you been to the Avenue?
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast, guys. We're going to be talking about. See, I threw that in there. We're going to be talking about habits. So healthy habits, not the Carlos habits.
You got it. There's a lot of them. These guys have plenty too.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking habits that will help impact your health in a positive way, and also potentially your fitness. And last thing, all three.
Yeah, outside of health too. Your work life.
No one's going to correct me on that. All right. I said two things, all three. All right, Let's move on.
Yeah, it's like me. It's the first and after the first.
Yep.
Or before the
And
first.
the second first.
The second first, right? Third
Yes.
first.
Yes. It's like second breakfast, third breakfast, Lord of the Rings reference. Okay. So I think sleep should be maybe our first thing, because I feel like that's the most underrated thing that a lot of people kind of definitely never really think about. I was listening to a podcast recently and they were talking about sleep. The guy was like, I used to think sleep was just something that happened. Like, okay, it's time for me to sleep, whatever. Instead of being like, I can plan and kind of control how my sleep is affected by my nightly habits or whatever.
Oh, definitely. And usually some people talk about like sleep. You have time to sleep when you're dead. It's a really bad way to look at it.
You'll be dead earlier.
Yeah. For sure.
You're going to get there real quick. But no, for me, I wore a Whoop band for almost 2.5 years, and it's super tracking on sleep, and it has very high metrics of what it actually does for like deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, all those different things. And then the thing that I really liked about it was it did like a correlation thing. So whenever I would put something in there, like last night I watched TV for 30 minutes, while laying in bed, or I ate close to bed, or whatever. Like I could pick these things. And then I could pick the questions that I wanted it to ask me every morning. So like if it was like take antidepressants or something like that, like I don't have that. I don't want it to ask me that every day. I have no reason. But one of the things I did do, I believe, was before they had it in there, was take an ice bath or something close to bed or stretch. So I would click the antidepressants thing, because then it would give me a correlation. It would say after X amount of, like if you reported it, I think at like 5 or 10 times, it would give you a correlation. Every time you reported X, it means X. So it'd say you got X amount more deep sleep than you did before. You got X amount more REM sleep or whatever. Or your awake time throughout your like tossing and turning and stuff was less or more.
Do you know what like the average sleep cycles are supposed to be? I know like you're supposed to be in light sleep, deep sleep, REM.
I have no idea.
There's some kind of like consistent thing with each of them. I know that we've changed from every 4 hours. I think it's every 90 minutes.
Oh, really? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so like if you are sleeping 6 hours and you want to hit snooze and sleep that other half hour, you're better off getting up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Versus getting that full 90 seconds,
I don't know.
90 seconds, 90 minutes.
I don't know. I just know that I was able to kind of see. So like for me, one of the things that really affected my sleep was if I ate too close to bed, and I didn't realize that. I was awake more according to Whoop. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like Adrian has talked about in the past. It's kind of like, don't lean into that as like this is 100% fact. It's just kind of like a general ballpark.
You talk to God, so what does he tell you when you're sleeping?
What?
Just joking. You do most of your stuff based on feel. Do you have an idea of like your actual sleep cycle, not REM and all that convoluted stuff? Just like when you go to sleep, when you wake up.
Not really. A long time ago, I used an app on my phone that was supposed to track the quality of sleep without you having any like devices directly on you. I think it was going off of just sound, right?
Or like movement. Right.
And then, but so I think if you just leave your phone on your bedside table, I don't see how it would be able to track the movement on your bed. So I think it was really just off of sound. I mean, yeah, it was interesting, but I don't feel like I got much out of it. So I don't know. I just try to go to sleep. I like to keep things as you know,
Simple.
very simple,
Yeah.
very very simple. I usually have no problem falling asleep at night because I think the main reason is I eat a lot and I have a pattern that's pretty
Consistent.
consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Predictable.
No,
So
I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah.
yeah, and then I mean I have some nights where I won't sleep quite as well for I don't know whatever reason. Sometimes my mind is racing. Most of the time that's what it is. But if not, I actually feel like I have a pretty good sleep.
Did you ever have problems sleeping like in your younger years or when you were working full time?
At some point, yes. Back when I used to work way too much, I just wouldn't sleep enough because I guess I didn't realize the importance of sleep, both on physical and mental performance. But yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I just learned over the years and learned how, just learn to prioritize sleep just because it just makes you feel so much better. And then you're just so much more efficient throughout the day.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah, because I don't know if I didn't realize this until not too long ago, but while you sleep is when you produce your growth hormone and testosterone. So that's for male and females. So if you're getting really bad sleep, then you're interrupting those cycles of replenishing that and repairing like muscle tissue, repairing any of those things. So if you're trying to look at it as like workout based and wanting to feel the best, that it seems so dumb just because sleep is such a natural thing. It's like drinking water or it's more like taking a breath.
Yeah.
It's like if you just learn to breathe, and it's like, well, fuck, I breathe every day. What do you mean? It's like if you learn to sleep better, you can produce those things.
What do you think are those things that are causing these things to be more complex? Like we talked about nutrition.
Yeah.
And he nailed it on the head. It's like we make things overly complicated.
I don't think it's necessarily like with sleep. I don't think it's necessarily an overcomplicated thing. I just think that there's a lot of habits that we have. So like used to in college, I got rid of my TVs and everything out of my bedroom. And it wasn't because I was just like, I'm on this. I just naturally did it. I was like, I don't want a TV in my room anymore because every time I would I want to lay down, go to sleep. And I would immediately pass out. So I would fall asleep within a few minutes most of the time. Every once in a while, like Adrian, my mind's racing or something. But for the most part, that was super easy. I turn my light off, lay down, pull my blanket over. I have a fan that I have just because I need the white noise. Turn my fan on and immediately pass out. I mean, I still about do that, but being with Britt, she likes to watch TV before bed just because that's like a ritual for her.
Yeah, it's something that you grow up doing.
And she'll fall asleep while the TV's on because she can do something like that. Whereas me, I hear the TV going and it's like,
and then you want to watch it,
or I'm like listening, like what's happening, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I kind of struggle with that, but that's okay. But I think it's not necessarily we overcomplicate things. I think it's more along the lines of there's certain things that we're doing that we don't realize is affecting our sleep time and staying asleep the whole time.
I can back that up as like being younger. We weren't allowed to have TVs. We had one TV in our house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting my first job and this is before the internet. Everyone says they'll even add to how old I am. They had what was called a paper.
Before the telephone.
It was called Paper Shop. You went in and you could buy any type of thing you looked in, televisions, and it was people would post.
So it was almost like a Facebook
like
Marketplace or
it was
KSL.
KSL in a paper version.
Gotcha.
And I found my first TV, bought it for $65, and then I had like Nintendo and Sega in my room and PlayStation.
And you ended up staying up later than...
Holy shit, dude. I created such bad habits that probably until I moved here, I was averaging 3 to 5 hours a night of sleep, even with my job, when I quit my job and I was doing this.
Really?
Yeah, it was really unhealthy. Just like I was like, Britt, I was like, all right, I'll put the TV on because that's what helps me fall asleep.
Right.
Until this past 4 months, I don't bring anything in. Like even my laptop, I'd be like, I'll just throw this on and watch like a quick clip.
Yeah.
I don't have anything electronic in my room now when I sleep.
Yeah. And I think something to kind of get around that without getting away from that. Like Brett, I was like, let's get our TV out of here. And she's like, no, I want to keep it in. I'm like, all right, whatever. One way to do it is like the blue blockers, the glasses.
Yeah.
It's just to kind of keep, because what it is if you guys don't know, the sun, whenever it rises in the morning, it has like a more of a blue hue from the sky and all that different stuff. And it wakes you up. It like sets off different chemicals in your brain to wake you up.
Yeah, it hits cortisol. Your cortisol levels spike, and that's like your wakeful.
Right. So if you're staring at some kind of blue light before bed, then it's typically going to wake you up pretty good. Think about at night before we had electricity, you would have fire and then also the sunset. So it was more reds, more oranges, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That signals chemicals in your brain to kind of like, all right, it's time to come down, get ready, shut them down. You heard that.
Shut them down.
Went and watched, what was it? The
Demolition Derby.
Yeah, Demolition Derby. The guy, every time they have to stop, shut them down. It's like, this guy from my neck of the woods.
But like
Anyway.
another topic we're going to talk about is getting sunlight. I
Yeah,
feel like
yes.
when
Hold on. Don't.
Yes.
No, I know I'm not
Yeah.
going to jump totally into that, but that
Yeah,
also
that'll
that
be-
literally leads to where I get good sleep is
Right.
getting enough sun.
Right. And the whole like sunlight thing, wearing the blue blockers will block out a lot of those blue lights to help you fall asleep faster and have a deeper sleep. Because for like me or even Britt, like we both fall asleep relatively quickly, but I'll wake up 2 or 3 times throughout the night. And I dream so much that most times, like sometimes I'm like, did I even sleep? Because I'm just dreaming so much. And used to my Whoop band or like my Apple Watch, whenever I would look at it, it'd be like, you got 6 hours of deep sleep. And I was
You're
like,
like I was up.
I was like, well, cool. Well, that's good to know that I actually got sleep instead of what I thought I got. But anyway, so I think sleep is something that is very important. That is I feel like is literally left on the back burner. People are like, how much can I work out? How many miles do I need to run? How many sit-ups do I need to do? When it's like, if you just literally add sleep instead of the more volume, that can push
100%.
push your performance, push your health.
100%. I think sleep is, like, in my opinion, hugely important. I would say it's at least as important as what you eat, and sometimes if not more.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that it like goes right into like how you eat too. If you're not sleeping right, you end up making really bad decisions. So
Yeah,
I think sleep's
Yep.
almost more important in my opinion.
Sure, but so you can be very, like, just in terms of like, because obviously your sleep affects your hormonal balance. Just in terms of like body composition, which your hormones have a lot to do with. A lot of people, very often people will come and be like, hey, why can I eat to get leaner? And they'll be like super disciplined on,
food
what
and
they
exercise.
eat. But if your sleep is crap, chances are your body composition is not going to change, or not the way you want it to change.
Yeah, it's 100% correct.
So yeah.
And I think it's different for everybody on the amount of sleep. So whenever we went to Turkey over the summer and spent a lot of time on the boat on this, it was a trip that was way above me, and it was amazing. But we went on the trip and I worked out one day through 9 days. I worked out for one day, but 6 days were on the boat, and I literally did nothing but sleep and lay around. And whenever we got back in the States, I was waking up at 7 a.m. every day, like consistently. And I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. I've reset my clock. This is what's going on. But now that I'm like training and working out really hard, I need more sleep. And I think what it is whenever you are exercising, I've heard this, like you need 8 hours of sleep, and for every hour you train, you need to add an hour. But obviously to tell the average person to get 9 to 10 hours of sleep at night is,
Yeah, especially if they're getting to bed early
right.
and they got to get up
But
early.
I think personally, if I were to tell somebody get 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night, if you're working out, you need to be closer to 8. But I don't know. For me, I need if I just go to sleep and don't set an alarm and wake up, I'll sleep for 10 to 12 hours.
I hate you. That's awesome.
And
That's really good.
It's not, because I mean it is.
Well,
But,
I mean, it's good that you're not consistently waking up, that your body's
Right.
resting itself.
But I need that. I feel like I do, because I struggle with waking up otherwise. If I just do that, I feel great. But to get 10 hours of sleep a night is asking a lot.
Yeah. My approach would be, instead of trying to
Like time it.
focus on like a specific number of hours,
Yeah.
I would just try to go to bed early enough so that I know that I'll be waking up early enough without an alarm.
Right.
Because I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Because
being able to get up in the morning without an alarm, just waking up when you actually wake up.
Yeah,
I think
because
it's
now,
huge.
because you're coming out of your sleep cycles naturally, as opposed to something interrupting one abruptly and just making you wake up. I was listening to something that was saying that if you go to sleep before 10 p.m., like naturally, then that's
super big time frame
Yeah.
when your body fully recovers.
yeah. Because
Starts
like
the
a lot
process.
of like myself, I always talk about I get a second wind, and what that is that your body's survival instinct kicking in to keep you awake because like wolves or something are coming in to kill you.
Yeah.
So you're trying to stay awake, whatever. So you get this second wind. But if you're able to go to sleep before that second wind happened, which is normally after 10 p.m., then you're more likely to get into your sleep cycles quicker. And then, like Adrian said, you naturally go through them and then naturally wake up when you should.
And I remember talking with Britta. And
Yeah,
she's a sleep specialist, and we were pretty on point with a lot of things. But she mentioned consistency, having a set bedtime, trying to go to bed at the same time every night, and then obviously everyone has weekends and stuff like that. Is to stay within 2 hours.
Oh,
so if
really?
you always go to bed at 9 on the weekend, try not to stay past 11.
Oh, okay.
Or it starts to throw off your sleep cycle. But
Okay.
you can then get away with not having any type of sleep aid or any issues with sleep that way.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know where I heard it. I don't know if it was her talking to me about it, but I think we did it. You're talking about the sauna is keeping your body temperature down, so not showering right before bed.
Yeah, which is interesting because I've heard a lot of people talk about showering before bed. Hot shower before bed is really good because it down regulates your body temperature.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Someone mentioned that, and I just gave it to Helene as I was like, hey, you shower before bed every night? She's like, yeah. I was like, stop showering. Like, I didn't say stop showering before bed, but like shower a little bit earlier in the evening. Before.
Go roll around in the dirt.
And she said, she claimed it helped her. Yep. Like it hasn't fixed her sleep, but it's allowed her to kind of fall asleep a little quicker. So, I mean, there's all types of different evidence-based stuff, but your best bet, like Adrian said, is being consistent and trying to have a natural sleep cycle.
Being consistent in what you're doing, because then you can see how you feel. So like I was saying with the Whoop stuff, I was consistently trying to hit certain things to see how it affected me, because then I could see. So like last night I did 25 minutes in my sauna at 200 degrees, and I went to bed 30 to 45 minutes later. And I've done this in the past. And when I do that, I'm just sitting there sweating. But last night I did that. I sat outside for like 10 minutes, just cooled down, got in the shower, then went and laid down, and I slept. I felt cold before I went to sleep.
Sleep good?
I slept well. And I think what it is just because the elevated body temperature, then sitting outside made it come down, then taking the shower made it come down. I didn't take a cold shower, just took a normal one.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, if it works, it helps you sleep.
But yeah, I was going to say is now I've done that enough now that I know that I'm okay with that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So sleep, super, super key. It helps out so much. Do you want to kind of put a button on that before we move on?
Yeah, I guess just one last thing I wanted to mention, just going back to like the consequences of bad sleep on your health and just body composition. I think there's a pretty well-known study, which I have not read, but I heard about it on the Ben Bergeron's podcast, where they used students to see how lack of sleep after like 5 days of sleeping only 5 hours a night, they were showing signs of becoming pre-diabetic, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, it's like the testosterone in men and women both like tank pretty hard. Like if you ever want to get on testosterone and you have good testosterone levels, just sleep 4 hours a night for basically like 2 or 3 days, and then go get it tested, and you'll have super low testosterone levels.
Yeah, they said like the 3 key things that most people are addicted to that cause low T is lack of sleep, nicotine, and marijuana. 3 things that lower your testosterone.
Yeah, makes
nicotine.
Sense. Yeah.
Tobacco, cigarettes.
So, all right, that's completely different. Tobacco is completely different.
Really?
Nicotine is a very specific compound.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of the
things. It
has
nothing to do with testosterone.
So do you think it's tobacco more than nicotine? Or
I think it's all the chemicals.
I think that's actually the chemicals that they put in cigarettes. I actually don't think that tobacco itself.
Because I remember I was talking to you, this is a little off subject, but whatever. I remember I was talking to you, you were like, have you ever heard about people smoking tobacco as opposed to cigarettes? Because in other countries, they smoke real tobacco as opposed to cigarettes.
Even the snuff, the Indian sniffing.
Right. And it's because it's been used for like psychedelic reasons, for health stuff like that. But yeah, so I think it is probably just like the cigarettes.
You're quick on that nicotine because nicotine is
Nicotine
helpful.
by itself is actually can be used as a nootropic.
Yeah.
It helps with focusing.
But that's a different subject.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, those staying away for the normal American, stay away from cigarettes and dip and those kinds of things, weed, those kinds of things, and then just making sure you're getting plenty of sleep.
I mean, just because those things in an abundance and a lot of it is going to be a negative. I
Right.
mean, just thing is like alcohol. After listening to what's his name's podcast about the
Huberman.
those terrible effects of alcohol.
Yeah,
Dude, it just reinforced me. I
If you
don't
ever
miss
get,
it.
If you want to get depressed if you're a casual drinker and get depressed, listen to that one.
Because he flat out says there's absolutely zero
None.
health benefits.
None. Not even like some people come home. Like, I don't know. I was listening to something it was talking about. Like, so basically in the podcast he was talking about was even the casual drinker, like having, say, 3 to 4 drinks a week, is very detrimental on your health.
Yeah.
And there was no benefits of it. But I was listening to something that was talking about I don't think there's any scientific study behind it, but it was saying like this guy was like, yeah, my dad would come home from work, he'd have one drink of whatever, and that would be like his nightcap. And he's like, but for him, it was more of like I get my drink, I sit in front of the TV, all my stress comes down.
Yeah.
And I think it was more of a ritual of that as opposed to I'm drinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, staying away from those kinds of things. So sleep, we got on.
Yeah,
sleep,
I think so.
sleep is huge.
Yeah.
Don't make it to the point where it stresses you out more than anything. Just keep it simple and try to be consistent. Actually, last little trick, if anyone tends to like sweat at night, because I know it used to happen to me.
I do. Bad.
Like,
I used to,
you'll- yeah, like once in a while you'll wake up and you're like drenched.
It's like
Yeah.
a hot flash.
So actually, most of the time it's because you're dehydrated. And a good way to fix that is actually to drink before you go to bed. And if you're worried about having to get up and go to the bathroom,
Mhm.
which is likely if you drink right before you go to bed, then just put electrolytes in your drink and you won't need to go to the bathroom.
Do we have a sponsor for these electrolytes? Are we getting a
Yeah,
company
Element. I buy them, and so that's our
These-
sponsor. Is I get to pay them for it.
simple
yeah,
ones, if
so-
you can't, like a simple way of doing electrolytes, right, is
Just salt.
Himalayan sea salt with some mineral droplets, money.
Yeah,
And-
that way, or you can do like the Element packets, or you can
Element
do
packets are-
the other salt. There's plenty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them.
But yeah, so I've been trying to increase my water intake. So I've been adding multiple because I could think about you every time. I'm like, oh, Adrian drinks this, and he said he doesn't get up to the bathroom. I drank a ton of water last night. When I laid down to go to sleep, I felt dehydrated. I was
Right.
like my mouth, not dehydrated. I was like thirsty. My mouth was like, all right, I'm ready to get some water. That's what it felt like.
You just got to get one of those.
what's that,
The
ASMR?
bladder with the little thing on it.
Yeah, like
You don't have to get
like
out
a
of bed.
hamster.
Camelback.
Just like a little hamster
I
thing
sleep with a camelback.
with your salt in it. Yeah, just wake up and they're like,
Dude, there's times coming back from camping. If I still have water in mine, I'll leave it right next to the bed instead of getting a glass of water out.
do
I'll
not
just sit-
blame. Oh, really?
Nice.
That's funny. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty good button on sleep. We can go into the next thing, which would be, I think we can hit on this one quickly, but it's going to be the sunlight.
Yeah.
There was a podcast, I think it was Huberman, was talking about getting sunshine in your eyes.
No sunglasses,
it was,
right?
it was a different guy. I'll think of his name. Anyway, so he was saying if you can get, when you first wake up in the morning or like mid-morning, whatever, if you can get sunlight in your eyes, that's not through a window, that's not through glasses, that's not through any of that stuff. I maybe reading like your normal glasses, I think would be fine. But he was saying that getting sunshine in your eyes with the first 30 minutes is extremely beneficial for helping regulate your sleep pattern so that you can go to sleep quicker, so you can wake up better. So like
Don't stare into the sun.
when I get
for
up
like
in the morning, I
extended-
stare straight into the sun.
Yeah. First thing I do, I wake up, I go to the window, I just like one eye at a time. Until I start tearing
Hit it
up.
with Popeye and then go to the other one. Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying to him. He even said that. He's like, don't stare directly into the sun, but but yeah, getting the sunshine first thing, it kind of gets all that wakes up.
Yeah, and then just your vitamin D levels, which helps with your immune system.
We just grab one of those really strong, like LED flashlights. just wake up in one eye at a time.
It's a good way of going blind. But
what are you doing? Set my inner chemicals.
Oh gosh, I feel great.
Testosterone at an all-time.
Where are you?
I really want to open this up into the
perennial
sunning, but I'll leave that. But the benefits of the sun is you do get vitamin D, which helps with your immune system. And the funnier part, I don't know if you guys knew this, is there's a parallel line. Anything north of it, I think we have like 30 days left here, even though the sun shines.
So what he's talking about is the way the Earth is tilted towards the sun, that whenever it's in this certain tilt, which is during the summer for us, we get the maximum exposure to vitamin D. But whenever we're outside of that tilt, it's just a little bit too far and we're not getting the right vitamin D from the sun.
Correct. And I think it's from Utah up and it goes all the way across the United States, is because it gets colder too. Mm-hmm. We're covered up, we're all vitamin D deficient. So
right, during the winter times.
During the winter times. So key is, we can talk about that later.
Also too, like you're wearing more clothing because it's, cold. So it's like a lot more skin is covered. So you're not as exposed, especially your face.
That's why I'm glad I'm bald. I can kind of get like more sunlight in my head.
It's kind of like your...
it's like solar panels.
Yes, That's what I was about to say. He's like... Whoa.
It's like it just
like
comes out of my fingers.
Off Wall-E whenever he's fully charged.
Does it work through your beanie though?
No. See, when I'm on the ski lift and I just throw it off, man, I just give like a
He flicks his... Oh my God. He flicks all the hair out of his face. But yeah, so I think the sun, I remember, so we got blood work done. I did a couple weeks back. You just got yours today.
Yep.
Got your blood drawn. But John was telling me he was vitamin D deficient. And that was one of the questions he had asked me. He's like, well, how's your vitamin D? Mine was in perfect levels because I go outside a lot.
What were you like in 70?
I haven't a clue. I got to look.
Mine was above the normal, which they tried to send me an email and talk to a doctor potentially to have kidney stones.
Oh, really?
It was just because I was heavily dosing during COVID with vitamin D and vitamin C.
Gotcha. But yeah, so those things can definitely help. Also, if I remember correctly, getting obviously the vitamin D and stuff like that, but getting more sun can help out with testosterone levels and increasing that, because I know that whenever you're vitamin D or just sunlight deficient, most of the time people's testosterone's a little bit lower than what it could actually be. So I think just getting sun, and then also, Chris and Britt that used to come here, you just met them. They came into town. While they were staying at our house, every morning they got up, and I was like, where do they go? They're out there just doing like a 30-minute morning walk, and then they come inside and drink their coffee and all those kinds of things. So,
so this is the walking in the morning.
Yeah, so it's like they're getting that morning walk. They're getting like the sunlight. They're waking up, and it resets their sleep schedule and stuff like that. And then getting sunlight before bed. So like when the sun starts to go down, getting outside and trying to getting some of that orange light from the sunset will help also do the same. I struggle with that, but it's just something for you guys to know. Sunlight in the morning and the evening is super important to help out with your sleep, kind of laying back into that, but also too to help out with vitamin D and plenty of other things.
Yeah, it just feels good too. Like even if you just go outside with a book, read a little bit in the morning and just get that sunlight, or just sit there and be quiet, just listen to the birds chirp.
Yeah, and what Carlos is talking about is this thing. They're saying that if you tan your perennial, your butthole, then
I've yet to try that, and I'll never try, but it was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
you'll never try.
On next week's episode, we'll talk about how he sunburned his butthole. He has to use a bidet because it hurts to wipe.
You'll be walking funny next week, guys.
Dude, there's
a new thing.
What testosterone's at 1,700,
7,000,
no
over 9,000.
Dude, I remember Ben Greenfield talked about like coffee enemas. I was like, no, I was just, dude, that's only for one end.
I don't
like
know
it's
why.
not nothing going in there.
People just want to play with buttholes. I don't know. It's weird. People like doing butt stuff. but anyway, so I think next habit I guess we could talk about maybe is just like some simple supplemental things that we do. So like supplements, so like every night before bed I take ZMA, and then I also take another one that was because I was deficient in something, and I know that gives no answers to anything, but I can never remember. It's like poly something, but it's like it has like zinc and a few other things in it. But like ZMA is zinc, magnesium, and vitamin B6. And
Yeah, I just started taking that stuff from
and
Greg.
that helps out with production of testosterone and regulating your hormones, and also helps your sleep. So I started taking that before, and I'm actually feeling a little better. Like I've been having nerve issues in my fingers, waking up. I haven't had it since I started taking it.
Really?
And I didn't realize that literally until yesterday. I was like, oh, I haven't woke up. So I've been waking up with my fingers numb, my pinky and ring
I
finger.
call it dead hand.
Yeah, it's just these two. Like
Oh.
everything else is fine. It has to do with your ulnar nerve that runs through, and because I have bad elbows, it kind of cuts circulation off from
So I
that.
wonder what the magnesium
But
that does.
it's not the magnesium. It's something in the other one that I cannot remember. I'll figure it out and I'll put it
We'll
somewhere.
talk about
Probably
it.
whatever.
We'll elaborate
Anyway,
more on
Anyway,
these
so
too.
that's one thing that I consistently am trying to get to where I'm taking, and that's kind of helping out with general health, like fish oils, those kinds of things. I know you said something about you go kill an animal and you drink the bone marrow,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
No, I thought you cut the bone in half and then there's like bone
You
marrow.
squeeze
you
it.
just squeeze it out.
Eat the testicles.
That's what it is.
Oh, bull
Just
penis.
Rip them off just right off the animal.
Squirrel nuts.
Eat them while they're warm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So what do you
That's
doing?
Does that increase your testosterone too?
yeah, absolutely.
His face?
It's like I mean testicle juice. It's like straight up testosterone.
The French do weird shit.
He's like, bro, I did 5 strict pull-ups with 70 pounds.
But you can't use weapons to kill the animal. You have to wrestle it to death.
Yes.
I'm screwed on that one.
You have to jump from the tree.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Give me your testicles. So what do you do in your coffee every morning, or your drink before you do your coffee? Whatever your morning drink.
Like, explain why you use those things. I think because just
Yeah.
giving generalizations, we don't
Exactly.
just take these things because we
Because
read one
sounds
article.
good.
So yeah, some of it is just something that Ina decides to put in there. So it's basically a coffee, and I'm not sure I know exactly what all goes in there, but it tastes good, so I drink it.
You don't question her.
All right.
But I think it's a little. So it's coffee,
Ina's Russian, so there's
a
some
little
weird
bit
stuff
of
that they do.
coconut sugar, some goat milk, a little bit of collagen protein, and a protein that I buy myself that has some organ powder in it.
What brand is that? Like,
That's from the Liver King.
those beautiful fake abs you got inserted.
Hey, but
I
there
don't
is
know.
something to the organ stuff, though.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so anyways, that's what I do in the morning. The one supplement that I take is creatine, which has been proven like thousands of times to have, both physical and mental benefits.
I know that's the one supplement that anytime I listen to anybody that talk about straight supplements, they're like, everybody should be taking creatine.
It's more like
On some
cognitive
levels.
thinking and stuff like
I
that.
don't
It helps
take
improve.
it because I've never felt any effects from it, but
And it's also super cheap.
yeah, it actually just increased. Yeah, like doubled
What did?
price creatine did.
I think Adrian bought
How
all
come?
the stock.
I don't know. Someone was asking me, they're like, did creatine double? I was like, I don't never buy it. And then they're telling me that everywhere they looked where they normally get it, it was like literally almost doubled. I haven't a clue why. I don't know if that's still, it could be that it was that way last year.
No, it's kind of like but protein. Protein powder used to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And then as it became
More
more of a popular item to be used,
Yeah.
they
they're
jacked
gonna
that
increase
price right up.
So, you take collagen protein in the morning for joints or,
I mean, I don't know. Ina just puts it in there. I
Okay.
don't.
because I've taken collagen in the past. I know you've taken collagen and it's really good for like joint
Yeah.
health and those kinds of
Like
things.
tendons
supposedly.
and joint health.
But I mean, like
Hair growth.
Yeah, I mean,
Working real well for you, huh, Carlos?
if you eat a decent amount of like
Red meat.
or just like animal protein in general,
Mhm.
you should get enough collagen. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that creatine and then electrolytes. Electrolytes is also one that I think has been very overlooked for a long time.
Yeah. I feel like it's really taken a big, like, a surgence almost. Like I feel like it's been around for a long time,
Yeah.
but I feel like now it's like everybody's kind of
Mhm.
getting into
I think
that.
it's also
for
because
sure.
of the lack of the diet too. Like, I mean, if you're not, one is not drinking enough water, two is your diet.
Well, I think salt, got a bad rap for a long time because of
sure.
like heart health things.
Yeah, I stopped using
High-
salt.
yeah.
Yeah, high
High
blood
blood
pressure,
pressure.
which isn't true. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like salt got a bad wraps on everybody's kind of realizing the benefits from it.
What do you think about BCAs? Branched chain amino acids.
again,
a lot of
I
people
think
think
if,
of those as an electrolyte.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sure. Again, I feel like if you eat enough meat, you should have more than enough BCAAs.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously, yes, you can dive down the rabbit hole and argue that each of those things is gonna potentially have like a 0.5%.
It's been like debunked.
Benefit.
Yeah.
And then you could argue that by taking 1,000 different pills every day, then you'll get, I don't know, maybe like a 10% benefit. But you'll probably end up spending, all of your paycheck. And
no, I'm gonna agree with you about like just eating food, but BCAs, I know
recently
Schofield, it's not been debunked. It's just shown that it's complete BS.
Right. It's not
like
as beneficial.
BCAAs during a
it's
workout.
not as beneficial as they thought it was.
No, you're better off doing exactly what he's doing, what you're doing, what I've been doing is adding electrolytes in your work before you work out, while you're working out, versus BCAAs are like, oh, it just tastes better. It's because it's sugar in it with a bunch of other shit.
Right.
Well, not whatever ingredients they have.
Right.
But he goes on explaining that, like, why would you take a partial building block of a protein thinking it's going to be better than protein?
Right.
And and then they did the study and realized it. But
yeah, but I think what Carlos, so what for the next 20 minutes, we're going to be talking to Carlos about what supplements that he takes daily. Well, you also got some good skin rubs and.
Well, no, those aren't supplements.
That's a supplement.
That's my.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just Dr. Kirster's Bone and Tissue, which is all natural herbs, marshmallow root, bunch of other things. They're basically all
let me ask you this:
anti-inflammatories.
How is a plant going to help with bone and tissue, animal bone and tissue?
It reduces inflammation to allow the body to start regenerating the tissue.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than the proof.
Is that why you're hurt all the time?
No, dude. When am I always hurt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't count anymore at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you used to come at me once a week and be like, "Bro, I got a new elbow thing," but
so
he could be more broken.
Here's the thing of me being
could be more broken.
Me being vocal about how I feel goes back to the point that I was talking to you guys earlier this week, is why I'm so set on perfection and technique is that if you continually do things at high intensity and heavy weight with things that are not working properly, you will end up trashing yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I become very, very vocal about what hurts. Are a lot of the things like detrimental. In 5 years, I have not complained about getting out of bed or had a hard time putting my shoes on. At one point doing this and competing, I rolled out of bed. I was heavily on narcotics to just be able to get to work without back pain or neck pain. And I did CrossFit every day. And it wasn't CrossFit causing all this shit. It was me.
Right.
But go ahead. You were going to say like, but.
I was going to say you can put, intensity and lift heavy weights with good technique.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
I'm not saying my way is the perfect and right way.
I think there's not a mixture, because that implies that both of you are thinking two different things, and to me it sounds like you're thinking of the same thing.
I overly focus too much on technique, which I need someone like you to pull me back and be like, no, push yourself.
It's not overly thinking about technique, it's just overthinking things. You know what I mean? It's like if you ever try to explain something to someone and they just overthink it, and it's like, hey, just you're making it more complicated than it is.
That's me coaching. Sometimes I give you too many cues, and now you're thinking about all three. When I'm like, dude, just focus on the one thing.
Right. And I think that goes with hand in hand with a lot of like the habit stuff that we're talking about. Is like a lot of the stuff we're talking about. I mean, we've only talked about a few, but you can overcomplicate certain aspects by overthinking, overanalyzing, okay, no, I need these 17 things to all flow at once, rather than just thinking about like one or two and then moving from there. Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just who we are as people. Like me, myself, like I think more, I pick up things very quickly. Like if you tell me, I can, jazz hands.
Pick it up.
Pick it up. But I do pick it up very quickly in like technique and those things. Hey, you're doing this wrong. Okay, I can visualize and think of it, where some people can't. So they have to really break it all down. But anyway, what other habits do you find, like stretching, foam rolling?
So
I was just gonna
hold on,
skip all my
yeah,
supplements.
yeah. I'm just like,
Oh, my bad. My bad. I thought you were done. I
to
thought you were done. My bad.
I mean,
No, I would.
Because he said he only has 2 things that he takes.
I would say, you guys all know them. It's the bone collagen I take in the morning
Yeah.
with vitamin C, and then
Do you add the vitamin C, or is it at all?
no, it's all in one.
Okay.
The thing stains the shit out of your clothes too if you.
Oh, really?
And then the bone and tissue stuff, I'll do that. Like I do reishi mushrooms and stuff like that, but I don't consider
I'm not kidding. Reishi?
reishi mushroom.
Is that like powder?
Yeah, it's just a powder,
okay.
like a tea. Like if I don't like, I started doing it instead of
You
coffee.
call it mud tea, or what do you call it?
He calls it mud tea. So yeah, it's a bunch of mushrooms. I stole it from
Okay.
them. But yeah,
but that's just got like a bunch of vitamins. Basically, you're getting all the benefits from the mushrooms without having to eat them.
theoretically it's supposed to help with your immune system. So
Oh,
like
awesome.
I will try anything during the winter months to
Yeah.
keep my immune system good. But yeah, just those 2 supplements and glutamine. I'll do.
Oh, you do
I'll
glutamine?
add glutamine into the mix.
Oh, okay.
And that's
Yeah,
it.
I've done
what
glutamine
do you
in the
use that
past.
for?
These are for like gut health and then recovery.
Yeah.
Like I've read a couple things where like
Yeah, I've
5 to
read
10
that too.
grams before and after working out are supposed to help.
Yeah, the guy that I was saying I was listening to said that like creatine and glutamine are 2 things that people could take every day, just because it's like it's been tested a million times, and then just the gut health and the recovery and those kinds of things that the glutamine has really brought into place.
And I don't think
is
it's
really
bad
good.
to have supplement use, but being dependent on it, I do get to the point where I'm routine, and sometimes I want to try to like take 30 days and not take any of it.
Oh, okay, just kind of like reset the system.
No, just see how you feel, because you can have placebo effect, right? Like
Right.
some of the stuff I'm taking I know the 2 things that I take definitely work. When I tore 2 muscles and you saw my leg,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
2 weeks later I was back to snowboarding.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a miracle, dude. I prayed to God and rubbed that lotion on my leg, and poof.
Yeah, I know. Carlos rubs CBD lotion all over his body. I've never smelled more CBD in my life than
Now,
being
that was
around-
Tiger Balm yesterday because of my forearm, but I was doing CBD drops to calm down.
See, and you said only
What happened to your farm?
you only do two supplements: CBD drops, CBD
I was
drops.
gonna try to say something funny, but fuck it. I tried the stranger.
So Tiger Balm, CBD drops. So I told you we'll be here for about 20 minutes talking about Carlos supplements.
Tiger Balm's not a supplement. It's a menthol shit for your muscles. You put it on your butthole. It feels real good. No, I'm
Gross.
kidding. No,
I-
I'm totally joking.
I look at it as a supplement because it is like you're adding something to yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's not an essential thing that you need.
No.
Like if I were to put you in the middle of the forest and be like, Carlos, live out here for a month, you wouldn't be like, shit, I need my Tiger Balm.
Nah,
You probably would,
I would
but-
make sure I have my bone and tissue syrup for sure.
And a knife, bone, and tissue. We're
Yeah,
good to go.
dude. I'm either that or give me a bow so I can kill some deer or
Yeah,
something.
teach you how to shoot that.
Yeah.
But no, do you have anything else that you would suggest or something that would just help out general health or fitness?
I would
whatever?
say before anything, eat healthy and sleep. The stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Wasting money on supplements
Yeah.
is like you wasting money on CrossFit clothes. Like it's going to make you a better CrossFit.
Right, but what I'm getting at is like, let's say, like all the things we've talked about, we're checking those off the box. Okay, I do that. I do that.
I would say I would say bone collagen supplement with like glutamine. I think those are really important. Or creatine if you want to like work on cognitive thinking better. And as far as your athletic performance, you're looking at a 1 to 4% increase in strength or some form of output. That's about all it's going to do.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I feel like we've touched on. I do protein every day.
Oh,
I do pre-workout every day. Well, I mean that's a supplement. That's stuff you're adding.
I would say, and here's the thing: protein definitely for afterwards. If you're working out in the morning and you're not getting enough protein, if
Yeah.
Adrian or myself, I'm eating enough steak and chicken throughout the day, I won't take a protein
Really?
shake afterwards.
So I'll do it no matter what, just because it's part of my routine, part
Yeah.
of my habit. But for me to meet the protein needs that I feel like I need to meet, and that's just dictated by how I feel over the years of just trying different levels of protein, I have to drink the protein shake. And then for me, since I've been always trying to gain weight, I actually add a carbohydrate supplement to my shake. It's called Carbo Gain. And I used to do a high dextrose. It's a high on the glycemic index. It's just straight sugar. I used to add that to my post-workout shake, but I would feel really good for about 30 minutes and then crash really hard. And then typically I coach after I finish working out. So I'd be in the middle of coaching and then I would just get really tired. So I would just need food or something.
Yeah, you're
So-
considered like a hard gainer, right? That means
Right,
that you have
right.
a hard time gaining
Yes.
muscle mass or keeping weight on.
Exactly.
You're
So
not like that,
no.
right?
Yes, he is, because I've talked to him about that.
Oh,
He maintains his weight well. Listen, I'm going to speak for Adrian. He maintains his weight well, and then for him to get up above 180, it's like he has to eat a cow a day.
Yeah, even just above 175, really.
Damn, dude. I guess I'm the opposite of both of you then.
Yeah. But for me, so I do the carbo gain because it's low on the glycemic. It doesn't spike my insulin, but it's also, I get plenty of carbs. So it's another way for me to get more carbs when I'm trying to get the 400 grams a day, 450, somewhere that helps me get to that quicker. And then also the protein, I try to get around 220 a day. So it helps me get to that a little bit easier. Instead of having to eat 4 or 5 meals, now I can eat 3 plus my shake. You know what I mean? So it kind of helps me cut that.
It's convenient.
Yes.
Were you always that way, like growing up, like playing athletics? You're pretty lean.
Oh yeah, I was always.
Because you didn't eat. I mean, you had some bad habits, like you ate cereal and candy bars and shit as a young kid, and then at some point,
yeah, because I feel like as a kid, you just, most of the time, you just eat what's put in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
You follow your parents' habits too. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not that my parents ever ate cereals, but
it's kind of more of a convenience from your parents thing. Here, go eat dinner.
Yeah, and then they just
eat breakfast, grab a bowl of cereal.
Back then, I don't know. The further you go back, I think the less people were actually paying attention to their food, because what was actually on the shelves in the stores was actually healthier, and I think it's becoming worse and worse. So you have to pay more attention nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I tried a whole different bunch of things growing up. Some that were big fails, and then just, realized that actually keeping things simple is the best way to go about it.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of good on the supplement talk. Got anything else?
What else?
Well, I was gonna say it was like stretching, foam rolling, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
For me, like I would stretch. I would do like a ROM WOD, or I would just do like simple stretches that I know I need before bed. Like it'd take me 5-10 minutes, and I would stretch out and focus on breath, slowing everything down. That helped me fall asleep quicker, and then too, it helped out my joints and stuff like that. Because I'm not gonna be like doing breathing techniques and stuff like that. Like that's not me. I'm not going to do that.
Have you tried breathing out of your butthole?
I have. I do it every day. It's more of an exhale as it is an inhale. Yeah.
Dude, so funny story, totally about farting.
Good.
There's this kid, sorry, Tom Durrell, he's an attorney in Philly now, but we used to make him, he could fart at will. So he would just lay on his back, put his feet over his head, and it was just like a trumpet.
You couldn't do that?
I can't do that. But dude, he can do it all the time.
Yeah,
like no hesitation.
Yeah.
Dude, so we used to make him do it before every game. We went 48-0.
That was a good ritual. It's
dude, it was
some
great.
People wear dirty socks. He
Nah.
plays the trumpet out of his butthole every day.
You'd see it.
There's no band for the team. He is the band.
No. Like the coach would come in like, what the hell are you guys doing? And you just hear like, and just everyone laughing. Like, another one, Tommy.
That's really fun.
But yeah, so.
But yeah, stretching.
Something Adrian does not believe in.
It's not that he doesn't believe in it.
No, that's not true.
I am totally kidding, dude. I know that. You just don't do it.
I don't do it. I guess I just don't. I just choose not to spend time to do it. I do believe that it could be beneficial for me to do it, but I also believe that if you need to like stretch for an hour before you start feeling good and start feeling like you can have a good workout, it's most likely that you're not recovering correctly.
Yep, I'll agree with you on that.
If you are coming in and like,
what if you sit at a job all day long?
I mean, that's fine, but still, like within like even if you're sitting all day long, if you're recovering correctly, you should be able to come in like warm up for like 5-10 minutes, just like basically just get your joints through full range of motion, and then you should be feeling good to go.
No, I agree with you. That's why I was asking you, because some people just rush. I mean, I'm guilty of it. You guys make fun of me that I don't warm up.
I think what it is we don't make fun of you because you don't warm up. It's because you put the class through a 30-minute warm up every day and get mad when people don't do it, and then you don't do it. That's the only reason.
And
it has nothing to do with making.
But also, no one knows what my full day is like and what I've done already. I may have already been to EOS, done a 40-minute sauna, and did some stretching.
That's correct.
Is that always the case? No.
No.
But the reason I do those long warm-ups is because I've been doing this long enough where I've done really quick ones and I've seen
Like
the
the
performance
outcome.
of what our clients go through, not here, back in
No,
Philadelphia.
I get that. So like the big stretches that you were talking about sitting all day. My old boss back in Oklahoma always said, like, listen, people are sitting all day. They come in, they can't rush. And so like the biggest ones we always did was like hip flexor openers.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like our main stretch. So you'll see that I do that all the time.
Yeah, I think we're really similar on
Yeah,
that. And
because-
then like just moving dynamically.
Yes,
running
but I
drills.
agree with Adrian that if you're like for me, whenever I come in, I have to do an extra like 10, 15 minutes of quad stretching because my knees and what it is because I haven't really taken care of them over the years. So like iso holds, like isometric holds and those kinds of things is what's going to help heal my knees. And until they're healed, this is what I have to do. But like Adrian said, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't fully healing like I should have been to where I could come in and do a 5-10 minute, get the blood flowing, get my heart rate up, get my joints moving in full range of motion.
And that's what
then
you
go.
know what you need to do. It's like that's like your shit shower shave routine.
Exactly,
You need to
yep.
be able to work out. Adrian's is, he does his little arm swings and
Mhm. His monkey
up and
swings.
downs. Then his shirt comes off and everything's warmed up.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's part of the stretching. The
Yeah.
shirt comes off.
You got to get
That's
that.
it.
Got it.
Ready to rock and roll.
See, I can't do it. I got to stretch.
That being said, just going back to what I said just a minute ago, if you're someone who has mobility issues, then stretching is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. So like for me, my upper body, like for you guys on camera, that's as far as I can move my arms back. So if you ever tell me you have overhead mobility issues, hold my beer. Or also wrist. That's all I got.
Um,
But yes, I
but
agree.
yeah, so stretching is not a bad thing.
Because take like gymnasts and like I taught cheerleading and gymnastics. We would spend the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of every session that we worked out just stretching. Cold. And that's what blew my mind. But cold. And it was because you have to hold these positions for long periods of time in order to create a difference in,
Would you
in the length.
with what you know now? Would you change that if you were to go back and like kind of
Yeah.
give guidance to a cheer
I would.
like Brecken?
I would.
with you?
So like I would love to be a cheerleading coach, not like the rah-rah-ree part, but more of like the strength side of
Yeah.
things and like the gymnastics. I would love to go back because I would get them blood flowing, moving, like doing some running, high knees, butt kicks, blah, 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 blah. Then do long periods of stretching, then go into like our stuff because they've done studies. I remember James Serby.
Serby.
Yeah, he was telling me that they did this. They took like a chicken wing and they attached it and then attached like a 20-pound weight on it and let it sit there and I think it was just a scientific thing. And I think it took like 12 or 14 hours to lengthen it or something like that of just straight stretching. So if you think about that, I can't remember the exact time, but it was like hours. So if you think about it that way, if you're only holding for like 30 seconds at a time, it's going to take you years to accumulate that. But if you're holding 2 to 3 minutes at a time on each thing, breathing, trying to relax, trying to let your body know that it's like because it's on defensive, like I'm going to tear something.
It'll like open its guard
Exactly.
up a little bit.
It'll actually get some change in the length of the muscle.
Is there do you know anything about the time frame? I think like I remember Invictus had something about no longer than 90-second holds. And again, like I don't know much about this, but
I think it really depends on like what the goal is, right? I think there is actually, and I'm far from being an expert in stretching because, but I think obviously, like if your goal is to be like super super flexible, like a gymnast, for example, it's gonna be way longer, like time under stretch, basically. As opposed to if you want to warm up, then you'll do what's called like dynamic stretching, where you'll actually will be stretching just for a very short amount of time. Because what you want to do is take the muscle through the full range of motion, but not completely like
lengthen
lengthen
it
it.
out. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I felt like I don't know. I've also heard like so many different things over the years, just contradicting each other.
Yeah, me too.
About stretching. And I mean, I don't know. I've been working out for a long time, and usually if I get hurt, it's not because I'm not stretching enough. It's because I'm not recovering correctly, like recovering enough, and that's where your muscles get like super stiff. And then if you keep on doing the same thing, then eventually I don't know, you'll damage your muscles or ligaments or tendons or or whatever, or you'll get something inflamed. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I hope those are some habits you guys can take away from and utilize. Sleep, a few supplements that'll kind of help out with recovery and those things, and then hitting some stretching on some problem areas that you might have, and maybe going through some breathing and those kinds of things to kind of help relax those. Was there anything else we touched on? Sunning?
If
perennial sunning?
No. I would say if there's any feedback, just hit up Coach Matty P and Carlos P.
I've been adopted.
That's right. Come on over.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like, feedback is always great, especially if there's something we didn't touch on. I'm sure. Yeah,
some of you guys have told me some topics on podcasts that you'd like to hear, and believe me, they're there. We're going to be hitting on those soon, so keep them coming. Keep them commenting at us.
Yeah. I guess quick recap: sleep, extremely important, just as important as food, if not more. Keep it simple and consistent.
Yep.
Sunshine, which will help with sleep as well, and a lot of other things. Supplements, just same thing. Keep
just
it
basic
simple.
Stuff. Yep.
Like focus on food before you start, diving deep into the supplement rabbit hole.
Agreed.
And stretching, just don't do it.
It's real bad for you.
Yeah, from the first podcast, we talked about getting here 15 minutes early to do some practice stuff that you want to work on, or stretching if you do have those restricted areas. That would be really good. But yeah, it pretty much sums everything up.
Cool. All right. Good chat today, fellers.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Later.
Au revoir.
Peace.